Hello, everyone, and welcome to our November Masterclass series. Oh, I love the background. There you go. We're here with my good friend, JP Varvarigos from Wellington Florist, and we are going to dig into all the things retail, events, everything floristry, and I'm really excited to introduce him to you guys. Welcome, JP.
Thank you so much for having me.
JP, so good to have you. I was thinking whenever I see you, wherever it is around the world, I always love my husband and I love hanging out with you and spending time. So where have we been? We've been at a beach just like your background.
Yeah,
Uh,
we were right here in this very place where I am right now, of course, in the Bahamas, uh, for your birthday, I believe, right?
yeah, yeah. JP is
Uh,
one of the few friends who visited me and came all the way to the Bahamas for my birthday. And of course, Lottie in Manchester, United Kingdom for the World Cup last year, which was
which was so much fun. And then maybe again for the Chelsea Flower Show, we'll have to see in May.
we are going to plan a field trip. So if anybody's out there would like to get information on this, just raise your hand or send an email. And Lottie says we're all doing a trip. So
I'm in.
I
Great.
know, I am too. That's awesome. So, for those of you that might not know, JP is a third generation florist. I'll read your bio if you don't mind,
Sure.
JP. Can I
Yeah.
just read? Because Miranda writes these wonderful bios, and we gotta give them their full credit. John JP Varvarigos is a third generation florist and owner of Wellington Florist, a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America. I did not know that. And he attributes much of his success to the flower business and his background in hospitality. After helping his parents with a busy Mother's Day holiday over 20 years ago, which I'm not sure why you must have really loved that. You stuck around. He discovered he had a natural talent for design and quickly learned all the aspects of the business. What was supposed to be a temporary job turned into a successful career as a top florist in the state of Florida. JP took over a day-to-day operations as general manager of Wellington in 2010 and expanded the shop in 2014 and you became the general manager and in 2010 expanded the shop in 2023. And he's an executive board member of Florida's Florist Association. That is a tongue twister, where he mentors young florists. So, wow, we're
Right.
going to dig into all this. So, you got started with your parents' business, I guess, 20 years ago. How did that go?
Yeah. It kind of started when I met my wife, who was a high school teacher. We were dating, and I was like kind of it was like after 9/11 and the economy was a little slow and I was trying to get like a little catering business off the ground. So I wasn't working like a full-time job. I was kind of working weekends when I had parties and kind of bartending on the side. And my wife was a high school teacher and I never saw her because I would go to work at like 1 or 2 and she was getting home at 2 o'clock. There were
Yeah.
like ships passing in the night. Um, so that basically led to me deciding to stay on at the flower shop after I working that one Mother's Day. I worked that one Mother's Day. They put me on the schedule a day or two a week because I had time. I was just working weekends and stuff like that. Um, and and I ended up really just loving it. I really love the flower business, and I grew up in this business as a kid. I used to come after school and sweep the floor and
Yeah.
break cardettes and break down boxes and soak oasis and stuff like that. But I never thought that I would be turn this into a career. I was thinking about even going back to school and going to law school or something like that. Um, but I ended up just really loving it. From right from the beginning, my parents started giving me more and more responsibility in the shop, and I was running it within a few years.
Okay.
Um, and uh, and it's just exploded over 1,000%. Since I've taken it over, it's turned into quite a beast from what it used to be. For sure. When we started, it was just me, my mom, my dad, and like a driver.
Yeah. And
Um,
your operation is pretty crazy now. I did have a chance to go and visit when I was heading back from Miami one time, and I was like so shocked because I thought, oh, it's probably a small flower shop, and it's like, no, it's very well done. Kudos to you.
Thank you. We get that a lot. I mean, people walk in our shop and go, "I've been ordering online for years. I had no idea this was like this or this was here." So, just to give listeners some perspective, we have a 6,000 square foot shop. We have 35 employees. We have 4 coolers filled with flowers every single day, year round. We have 2,000 roses in stock, five, 600 hydrangeas in stock, 5 different colors. We have peonies. Like right now, I have 500 peonies in the cooler.
Wow.
We always keep a huge inventory. We have every kind of container there is. We sell a ton of orchid plants. We have a gift section in the front. Right now, everything. I was all set up out front, but we couldn't get my laptop to work. So now I'm in
Yeah.
my office. I'm at the I'm in the Bahamas, but
I know. We'll get you to walk with your, well, no, because you're at a desktop computer. So we'll
right.
be sure to include some pictures because I definitely want to inspire anybody that's just a boutique florist or an event florist and has the dream to create a retail shop. You should dream to have a shop like JP's store. I
And
guess
that's
it
how we
just,
started. That's how we
yeah.
started. We started in 800 square feet.
Okay.
Really
And
small shop.
you just acquired, as I understand it, like one of the local people in your area. So you kind of merged
Yeah,
or,
well, I acquired my pretty much my main competitor. There was another shop in town, and they popped up for sale, and I scooped it up. It was a natural, it was a no-brainer. We
mm,
picked up some good employees and some good accounts, and consolidated, the flower market here in Wellington. So, uh, we're not operating out of the location. We're pretty much going to shut it down, but it's we basically were able to absorb all their orders um, and just grow our operation that way too.
well, JP is a really savvy businessman. And I think that's what I appreciated most about when I met you back at Florida State all those years ago. You've been a member of that organization for quite a while.
Yeah, I think I've been a member for 7 or 8 years now, and I'm second year as a board member. I'm the vice president. Last year I was the secretary. I'm on the executive board. I actually just completed my mentorship this week. We had a or last weekend we had a I had a mentorship where I had a mentee come out from Central Florida. She worked on a wedding with us, and she gets a certificate. We went over how to produce the whole wedding, and it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. It was a very valuable experience for me to be able to do that.
And we really highly suggest all of our florists to join their state association. So here, I know Florida, we have a pretty active
Hmm.
membership, and we're really trying to build that. But Michigan, Texas, California, Wisconsin, there's so many out there. So if you guys aren't members of yours, I highly encourage it. And there's no better way to like learn from your peers than being able to just assemble, I think, during a weekend or two throughout the
Oh,
year.
absolutely. Please get involved in your local florist association. There's nothing more valuable than to consult with your peers in the industry. Um, you're going to meet other shops that have similar size and operation and scope as you do, to bounce ideas, see what they're doing. And it's so friendly. Like everyone wants to help each other. It's not competitive in nature. It's really good. Floristry is good for everybody. I say that a lot because bad floristry is bad for the whole industry. Every negative experience the customer has with flowers makes them just not buy flowers in the future. And so they might not just go to call the next flower shop. They might send a bundt cake,
Yeah.
instead of sending a dozen roses. So, it's so important that we all um, uphold ourselves to a higher standard for sure. And that so associations help do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and I have to say with you purchasing your competitor, I mean, that's not with them not wanting to like get out of the business. So if you can align yourself with people in maybe your market, and if you're looking to have a succession plan, like what a perfect opportunity to have a JP in your backyard, uh, that he's going to benefit and they will benefit too. So it's kind of a mutual, I think,
Yeah,
parting way. Yeah.
absolutely. I agree.
So you are in a really interesting area of Florida. I have to say, probably one of the best zip codes to have as part of your delivery area. You're like delivering to Palm Beach and West Palm and Wellington, which is like equestrian central. How many deliveries do you do, and what is your average like ticket?
Uh, I'd say my average sale is about 130, $140.
Okay.
We do anywhere from 30 to 50 deliveries a day. Uh, we do a lot of party work. We work with 3 country clubs. One country club just ordered for the whole season about $40,000. They just ordered it all up front for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, Mother's Day. They just gave me the whole order. We
That's
just picked up a new country club this week. We got their very first order for Thanksgiving. Um, And we serve a huge area. We serve about 1,100 square miles. Wellington is right smack in the middle of Palm Beach County. So we go all the way west out to Belle Glade, which is like a farm rural area that nobody else goes out to, but they buy a tremendous amount of flowers. We go all the way directly east of us, 15 miles, is Mar-a-Lago. So we are down on the island a lot of times. We have several notable billionaires that you've heard of that we do weekly flowers for in their homes. And then we have a couple notable billionaires right here in Wellington. Wellington's like a little enclave of the rich, outside of, it's basically where all the wealthy people in Palm Beach that own equestrian farms have their farms. So there's a lot of captains of industry right here in my neighborhood that we do flowers for on a weekly basis. We do a tremendous amount of party work. They throw a lot of dinner parties. We do tablescapes. Um, so yes, it is very interesting. Palm Beach County also has a very rapidly growing uh, commerce and tech uh,
Mm.
industry here. I know Ken Griffin's moving to something here in Palm Beach County. We have Carrier, the air conditioning company, opened up a big national world headquarters here. Um, Vanderbilt University is opening a campus right here in West Palm Beach. It's growing like crazy. There's all kinds of opportunity to keep growing, and one of my biggest challenges is to let people know in my county that I'm not just Wellington florist. I'm also the whole county, same day. I don't have to be half a mile from you. We have 6 vehicles, so we can be at your location within the hour. I
Yeah.
always have a driver here ready to take your order, take your delivery to you.
Well, and I think it's pretty notable. I know a few years back you were honored by your county as like Small Business of the Year, or what was this? Because with all of those great businesses, what an amazing recognition for you. And I'm certain everybody was like, well, I've got to buy their flowers now. So is there anything that
Yeah.
you can say to people
Okay.
for applying for those things?
I think I have something right here on my
Oh
desk.
yeah.
Yeah, I won like a small business person of the year.
No, that's
Yeah, small
amazing.
business person of the year. This isn't the actual trophy. This is the finalist, but then I won the actual award. Huge honor, of course. I was shocked. At the end of the day, even if I'm a big flower shop, I'm still just a flower shop. I mean, there's plastic surgeons, there's attorneys, there's people that own, much bigger businesses than me. But I am involved in the community. I believe in that. We donate a tremendous amount of flowers. I'm very proud of this. We're on track to give away about $90,000 worth of flowers this year in 2024.
That's amazing. And I know you just recently participated in Pedal It Forward,
Yes.
and that is an initiative through Society of American Florists. They host it once a year where you give a flower, you actually give two flowers or two bouquets, one for the recipient to keep and one for them to give away. So it's a very encouraging pay it forward kind of thing experience. How many flowers did you give away for that?
We gave away 3,700 roses.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I bet you just
we didn't
lit
do
up.
bouquets because bouquets would have been just unmanageable. We did wrapped roses. Um, uh, we partnered with a few organizations. We partnered with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, who I've been giving a ton of flowers to because everything they do is amazing. Um, we handed out roses in front of the courthouse with a bunch of deputies. And then Habitat for Humanity, who's I'm a big supporter of, they handed out about 2,000 of the roses. They
Wow.
popped up. They have a big presence here in Palm Beach County, and they gave away flowers in like 5 locations. Um, I went and saw them at about 2 locations, one in Palm Beach, and then I went out to the VA hospital, and that was a sight to behold. We gave away 400 roses at the VA hospital within 20 minutes. The people were just so happy to be getting the flowers. People were just coming up, please. These people don't get flowers every day. It's really nice to get flowers in the hands of these people that aren't like let's say privileged. They're not as lucky as some of other of us are to enjoy flowers on a regular basis. They were so happy, and that was really touching, for sure. The
Yeah.
Wellington Rotary Club was another group that gave away flowers. So we pretty much reached out to a bunch of organizations and said, if you're willing to do this, if you're willing to go out into your community and pedal it forward and hand out these flowers, we explained the program. We'll donate you as many flowers as you think you can give out. And next year, I hope to give away 10,000 roses.
Wow. Do you think that that really contributes to the success of what you're doing locally? Just you creating those relationships, or is it,
Oh, I mean, I certainly hope so.
yeah, it's kind
I
of those
certainly hope so
boomerangs.
because it's a huge investment. And sometimes I feel like I might have a mutiny on hand with my staff, because we're giving away 38 arrangements tomorrow
Okay.
to farmers. They're out there making them right now. There's a big farm luncheon that the Florida Agriculture Commissioner speaks at.
Mhm.
Um, 2 or 3 times last week we gave away flowers. We did something for Cribs for Kids. We did something for what else did we do just last week? We did the Wellington Community Foundation, which now I'm on the board of. It's another association where we help seniors, veterans, and children. So
Yeah.
we did a table arrangements for the big gala for that. Plus, you know, I uh, I ponied up a little bit from my own personal to give to that because that's a very near and dear foundation to me that I've been involved with for quite a long time, actually.
Yeah, when I was young and first starting my business, of course, that when everybody is like, "Well, if you do these flowers at a discount, everybody's gonna see them." And I was like, "Okay." So I mean, I felt like it was maybe too early in the portion to be able to give as much, but now that your business is established, it's just part of the cycle, and just getting your flowers in front of more people more often is nothing but great exposure.
No, 100%. It's a no-brainer for me in my business model because we don't buy bunches of flowers from, we buy boxes, we buy from farms, we buy a tremendous amount of flowers. We get about 200 cases of flowers a week here. Um, and I might not need 20 bunches of snap. I might only use 16. So sometimes I have extra stems, and I want to keep my staff busy and my trucks full. And why not market myself by moving out some of the extra stuff that I bought anyway? It's almost like a sunk cost. I look at it like, I can't buy 16 bunches of snap. I have to buy the 20. And it's cheaper than if I were to buy 16 individual bunches. So, the flowers are here. Um, so I don't, I try not to look at it as like, all this extra money I'm laying out to buy flowers. I really, and I strategically choose who I want to give the flowers to. Although just about anybody that asked me if they're a nonprofit, I will give them something. I might not do 20 centerpieces, but
Right.
if somebody asks me for their 20 centerpieces, I may say no, but you know what? I'm going to send you $100 arrangement for the check-in table, or something like that. And then, you know, I like to flip the narrative. Like you see a lot of negativity. I can't believe these people ask me for flowers for free all the time. And, people have these forms that they want you to fill out online to say, how much have you used me in the past couple of years and da da da. I kind of try to flip that script and be like, you know what? Anybody they ask, I'm going to give them something.
Well,
um,
it just makes them like you more, and when they are actually planning something where they know it's not for a nonprofit, they're like, "Well, he took such good care of us this last time. I'm gonna bring him our
and
business."
and what better form of marketing is than to show your product? It's and if it's truly going to a nonprofit, or a needy, don't get me wrong, we don't give, 20 centerpieces to, a private business
Yeah.
that's making money. It's got to be something like Habitat for Humanity or the Boys and Girls Club or some kind of charitable foundation, which Palm Beach County is rather known for. We're like a charitable hub here with Palm Beach, and we
Yeah.
attract a lot of the nonprofits are based here in West Palm Beach for sure.
And the charities, rich people love to go celebrate at parties and give money to put on these events so that they can not only raise money for the charity, but also hobnob. It's just like how you get together with
No
people.
doubt. The country club I just told you I picked up, a new country club that just gave me a Thanksgiving order. That's going to be a 50, $75,000 a year account. Um,
Wow.
I picked them up last week at something I gave 10 $40 arrangements to.
Yeah. So I guess if you're out there in your market and are looking for ways to expand your retail operations, look at those charities and for event florists too. I've been pushing JP for a long while every time for the last 7 years. I'm like, JP, you need to do details. Like, why aren't you a details customer? And he's like, well, I don't do events. And I walk in and I'm like, well, you do. Look at all the events you have going on. So as you're just newly indoctrinated into using details, how has it gone for you and your team?
It's going good. I'll give you a little background about why I finally chose to decide to pull the trigger on it.
Hmm.
When I saw you in Miami for SAF, what was I there? We were there 3 days, something like that.
Mhm.
We booked $50,000 in weddings in 3 days. I came back and like we had two $15,000 ones and like two $10,000 ones booked for all for January. Like I was like, holy moly! Like so, um, I was like, okay, maybe I need something to help save my employees time in creating these proposals. Now,
Mhm.
I hope you don't take this the wrong way.
No, please, sure.
Details didn't save me time making proposals. We actually spend more time now making proposals, but
Oh,
it's only
really?
because details does so much more.
Yeah.
There's so much more you can put into your proposals, the pictures and the color schemes and the contract and than other the way we were doing it before. So we actually spend more time, but I feel like we're converting more.
Okay.
Um, so that's
Okay.
okay. You know what I mean? It's if you're converting more, you can take some of that time and expense it out because you're bringing in more sales. It
Right.
justifies working on it longer. Um, so
Wait till you start making templates, JP. That's where it's like rinse and repeat. So
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Right, yeah, absolutely. Right. It's gonna. I'm not. So like I said, I hope you don't take that the wrong way. I have no regrets.
no, no, that's good. No, JP, it's really JP and I have become friends and he visited me on my birthday in the Bahamas. So I feel like we're really close. But you want your friends to use the software and be the happiest, right? So I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that it's going well. I'm
Yeah.
sorry
No,
it's
we're very happy with it. Mainly, it's my general manager Jordan that does most of the proposals. I honestly, my favorite thing is getting the signed contract and money, the deposit, like right there at the time of the. I feel that right there. I've noticed on my career, whenever I've made it easier for my clients to pay me, I've
Mhm.
increased sales.
Yeah.
So, and I shop the same way. Like if I'm sitting on my couch in my underwear at 1 o'clock in the morning and I don't have to get up to get my wallet out of my room, I can just click like PayPal or something like that. And I don't have to remember my CVV number or something like that. I, you
Yeah.
know, I will use that function and buy the sale because otherwise I wait till the next day and I just don't do it.
Yeah.
So
Well, in fact, when you're ready to buy, you want to press that trigger and buy now. So I love that you love that feature. That's one of my favorite ones too.
it's a big deal. Yeah. And yeah, for sure. I think I just used it for a Christmas proposal.
Good.
Um, guy calls me up and
Valentine's. Yeah.
says I want to do a Christmas tree. I say okay. I put a Christmas tree for about $2,000 and I put a bunch of other items on there with pictures that kind of go with the theme and it came to 4,000 and he goes, the next thing you know I look in my inbox and I have a $2,000 deposit.
Yeah.
Went for the whole 4,000.
No, I mean, that's amazing. So if you make it easy for them and they know your work just by your reputation. So I feel like it's a winning combination. I'm really looking forward to hearing about the biggest event that you do, and I want that all planned in details because that it'd be like amazing. You're also one of Teleflora's main florists, as I understand it. I guess for in the central Florida or east coast of Florida area, you've been a member with them quite a while.
My whole career.
Oh,
Um,
really?
we've pretty much, when I came to work for my parents, they had the old, was it Daisy system? Yep, the
Oh,
old Daisy system, DOS,
does? No. Yes.
I think in 2014 we upgraded to Dove.
Okay.
So we have the Dove system. We've had the Teleflor website. We've never had anything but a Teleflor website. We've had the Teleflor website since websites were a thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I know there's like a mixed reaction about wire services online, and you're part of a group on Facebook that we'll get to at the end. But like, what is your thought process on that experience and like your relationship with wire services? Like,
well, you know, we at Wellington Florist, we do very little wire business. So we send out quite a bit. So we use Teleflora to send orders out, but we don't get a whole lot of incoming orders. We don't accept incoming orders. We generate generally most pretty essentially 100% of our own orders we generate.
okay,
So we don't do any incoming. Um, so I don't use Teleflora as a wire service. We use it for sending out to some degree, but Teleflora is a technology company, the way I look at it. And I have, you know, and I would be so scared to ever even think about switching. We're so embedded in our software. We rely on our software. We use every inch of Teleflora software. Like a lot of florists buy the software and only use the actual order taking part. But we
Okay.
use the design manager, we use the delivery manager. We actually still use the event manager for their calendar because I like the calendar on Event Manager.
Okay.
Um, so we use the marketing module. I really believe in software, and I try to make use of it instead of human trying to do things pen and paper things, and just sets you back. It opens yourself up to human error. Um, uh, Teleflora has been really good at keeping my website relevant, keeping it highly ranked on Google. I've never not been number one in my area. Um, so there is absolutely no reason to look elsewhere for me. I feel like the price is very reasonable for what I pay. They charge me a small fee per web order I get. That's how I pay for my website, which is totally reasonable. Um, I think I have a lot of workstations, so my technology bill is a little up there, but I'm a big shop, but dollar for dollar, it's not expensive.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I always am kind of curious when there's so much tension online, and I feel like that people behind their keyboards are often really
you know,
wild and so forth. So, getting them to engage with our Facebook page is, we find rather cumbersome. But if you get florists on a subject, there
right.
they go all in. And you've
Well, I mean, here's what I have to say about that. I mean, there's a lot of floors are hurting.
hmm,
A lot of florists are hurting when you're very small. You're on very slim margins,
yeah,
and you know they're trying to just move flowers by accepting incoming orders, which are discounted. They're trying to buy containers. They're trying to compete with other people filling orders. And when you're working really hard and not quite making it, you tend to lash out at people.
yeah.
And
And
I
that's
think wire
so
service is an easy target. I think it's easy to blame wire services for if you're not making it or if you can't generate your own orders. But the fact is, you really need to go out there and get your own orders. You can't depend on um, order gatherers and just .com sending you orders because you're filling them at a discount. You should never wire ins should never be more than 10% of your total revenue. So if you're doing more than 10% of your total revenue in wire ins, you're likely not profitable. You're likely going to lash out and be mad at the whole world. But really, you need to look inwards and see
Yeah,
why
well,
you're not making money.
that makes so much sense because it's about action and putting yourself out everywhere. Like we always put out boomerangs to maybe 100 different places, and not all of them were successful, but you can't completely rely on one thing or another at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Like I
Yeah,
work incredibly hard to go out there into the community and meet people and shake hands and my job is business development at this point. That's my job. Yes, I still design every now and then. I'm still responsible for a lot of the merchandising in the front. I haven't found somebody to do that for me yet. I'm still the buyer. One day I'll get a buyer.
yeah.
Um, but really, as the owner, my job should be just make sure nothing's on fire.
Mm.
Make sure overall the business is running smoothly and business development, bringing in new clients. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what you should be doing as a business owner. So if you're stuck behind the design desk all the time, or running deliveries, or washing buckets, or all that stuff, and we've all done that, and we all do that as smaller shops. But really, your goal should always be striving to 100% of your time bringing in business. I mean, if you want to grow, some people, and you don't have to grow. Some people you can grow to a certain size and say this is I'm comfortable, and that's fine. There's no shame in
yeah,
um, but I feel like you really need to go out there and if you're going to be the face, every company needs a face. Like you're the face of the company, you and your husband.
yeah.
Ultimately you're the one responsible for bringing the business in.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
He's the
Um,
beauty.
I don't know about that.
Thanks.
Um, but yeah, it's easy to lash out. It's a lot of floors are hurting. So I don't want to sit there and talk negatively about florists that bash Teleflor, although they shouldn't. They should, they signed a contract. There's
Yeah,
like read your contract, know what you're getting into before you enter into contracts.
Yeah.
That's pretty basic.
Well, and I feel like that comes from a lot of inexperience too. When people are just so young and hungry, they're like, well, let's just jump in full
Yeah,
force. And they don't really read the fine print sometimes. And, shame on them. But also, you know, we can all pick ourselves up by our bootstraps to just get out there and work harder. So,
yeah,
um, yeah.
yeah.
Have you seen any key changes and trends since you took over the family business? Like what was from yesteryears coming back, or is there something that you find that really sells well?
Um, you know, for me, I've made a couple key changes since taking over the business. One of the biggest things I've done is not an aesthetic change, but a customer service change. Um, we added a 7-day guarantee on all flowers.
Okay.
That was probably one of the number one things I've done that has materially changed consumer confidence in my business. Um, every single employee that picks up the phone is empowered to make a customer happy if they're unhappy for any reason. The flowers don't even have to be dead. It doesn't have to be, even if it's the customer's fault. Let's say they dropped it or left it in their car.
Yeah.
You know, we want 100% satisfaction no matter what, regardless of fault, and we want people to not feel um like there's going to be a fight or a battle if they're unhappy. So we want to catch any unhappy people before they leave a review, or before they get mad and use someone else, or send a bunt cake. We want to make it right. And then just to put it in a physical example, we have a big cooler with 20, 30 arrangements in it for walk-ins, and you know, when you have a customer standing there and he's looking at he wanted to spend $75 and he's looking at the smaller arrangement for $75, but he sees the 150 and he loves it. And he looks at me and he goes, well, when was that made and how long will it last? And I go, look, it's guaranteed for a week. If it dies in 2 days, you just, we'll give you another one. It's that simple. And then they go with the 150. It paid for itself right off the bat many times over. I don't mind anybody stealing my idea. It's not my idea. There are no new ideas. But it's if I encourage you doing that. Even if you replace an arrangement, you're still kind of profitable. Even if
Yeah.
you replace it, if your markups are correct. Other changes, I haven't adopted a lot of, I've been to AFDs and I've been to a lot of the design shows, and you've seen trends over the years with aluminum wire and yarn and woven branches and stuff like that. And some of that stuff can be cool. But you know what I found? People really just like big, full, lush arrangements.
Yeah,
you
they
know,
do.
people like flowers. So, uh, you could totally have a creative outlet and do these things, but don't try to get too detached from what people really want. And that's big, full, impressive looking arrangements. For the most part, people want lots of flowers. They want to feel like they got their money's worth. And then people don't always recognize the value in that woven Robolini palm that you did. You know what I mean? Like that you spent an hour on. So I don't subscribe to a lot of that stuff. I just really like to make things simple and full and large and lush and a good deal, and monochromatic. People make things one or two colors. Don't go crazy.
Yeah, right.
People
I know.
love people love monochromatic arrangements for sure.
When you were assessing like your business strategy and you came down to making that 7 days choice, was that um something that you had heard from somewhere else, or like how did you get that idea? And because I honestly I have not heard anybody else like say that as part of their marketing. But I love
Well,
that.
it's definitely marketing. It's printed on everything I do.
Okay.
Um, yeah, 7-day guarantee is printed on everything I do. Um, no exceptions. Like we don't no exceptions. So uh uh so when I decided to do that, I was still working with my parents. And
Okay.
it was a battle. They
I
didn't like it at
bet.
all.
Yeah.
My dad used to say, only God can grow a tree, only God can guarantee.
Yeah.
And I remember how stressful it was every time someone called to complain. It became a big fight, a big battle. I felt like crap the rest of the day. You think about it, it harps on you. You're laying in bed at night thinking about that interaction you had. I completely removed that. There is none of that anymore. We
Yeah.
are literally just purveyors of happiness, and it's really, I'm really proud of it. We don't allow unhappy customers. You know, we pretty much we chalk it up as a cost of doing business. It's less than 1% of it's like a tenth of 1% of my sales. I think I replace one out of 300 arrangements or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really such a small amount. It's not worth nitpicking. We don't even pick up the arrangement and like refresh it and send it back. We just send a whole new one, pick up the old one, and that's it. We don't give them a hard time. Your employees will thank you too. Like I said, it's stressful. They're stressful. If you have somebody picking up the phone and your directive to them is to tell this customer no, and that customer's yelling at them and really upset, um, that your employee's not going to be happy. Your employee's going to be upset. It because I was upset. And that's how it was. My parents like kind of almost thrived on that. They loved battling with their
Oh, really?
customers, not me. I mean, we've completely changed that culture here. It's
Well,
not
I
like
guess
that
you
anymore.
work in hospitality and you kind of see that side, or you've been in a server, you understand like it's customer service comes down to everything and it comes down to your paycheck at the end of the day on how happy they are. So you got to deliver that top-notch service every single time.
Yeah, 100%, no doubt.
I love that. And I feel like you are, I mean, between the Florida State Floral Association and SAF, you really give back your time. I love that you were mentoring someone. I didn't get to hear your talk last year because I think we were talking at the same exact time. So I was like, darn it, someone I wanted to hear is like speaking the same time as me. But uh, do you enjoy like sharing your experiences and just giving that professional know-how or just the amount of tenure? Um, that you've had.
Exactly. And you're hearing some of what I spoke about at SAF today. So you're not going to miss anything. Yes, the floral community and my local community here have been very good to me. I've made a very good career that I'm very proud of. I do very well. I provide very well for my family. I have great work-life balance. The floral industry is uh, is not an industry to be overlooked. It's an industry that people can really make a living. Um, and it goes back to what I said before, that good floristry is good for everybody. Some of us leaders, we have to it's our duty to pay it back to this industry that was good to us, and that's by training future generations how to excel in this industry. We don't want people fly by night florists. We don't want people giving out bad product. We don't want people, misrepresenting what this beautiful gift we have. We don't want people ruining it. We want people doing it the right way. So, I try to give to both aspects. I give back to the industry and I give back in my local community. I'm on the board of the Wellington Community Foundation here in Wellington, and I'm on the board of the Florida State Florist Association. So, those two ways I'm trying to take my experience and apply it to other florists and also apply it here at home too.
Yeah.
You have to do it. It's something, in the beginning you have to do it to learn, and then once you're a veteran, you've been doing it 20 years like me or other people in the industry, you have to do it to give back.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I try to go every year, and for those listening, if they haven't heard of it, the SAF Congressional Action Days, and that's where florists gather in March in Washington, D.C., and we go take floral issues to Capitol Hill. So I don't think I've seen you there amongst the florist attendees before. So I'm going to encourage you
Yeah,
to.
I'm actually very new to SAF. I've been a member forever. I've just paid it through my Teleflora bill for 20 years, and I've been a member forever, but I've never actually gotten involved.
Okay.
This year was my first year to go to the convention, and this is my first year doing Pedal It Forward. So I look forward to being more involved in the future for sure. And Congressional Action Days is something I'm very interested in.
Yeah, I think just given your area and your relation to politics, you'd have a lot of persuasion that you can do. Just you'd be like, I'm your florist, you know? Um, so how does I wanted to ask you about customer feedback. How do you gather that customer feedback? Do you send out like an email to have them write you a Google review or that? Like, what is your follow-up process after you deliver flowers? And is it to the recipient and the customer who ordered it? or?
Yes. So every florist needs to be doing this. There's no reason not to solicit feedback. Um, Years ago, I almost like was a little timid about doing it because I didn't want to get negative feedback. I'm too emotional. I'm too sensitive. I don't want to hear if you didn't like your arrangement. I'd rather just ignorance is bliss. I'd rather not know. But no, you absolutely have to. Um, Google reviews are essential to your marketing plan. Google by far is the number one resource consumers go to decide if you're a trustworthy business or not. And if you're not soliciting reviews, you're going to have low reviews. Having a lot of Google reviews will also raise your I forget what it's called, your your web score to where you'll be rank higher.
Yeah.
So like I think we're coming up very close to 800 reviews in Wellington Florist. So we use software once a week. We pretty much download an Excel spreadsheet of everybody that ordered the week before. We upload it into a software called Gather Up. It's like probably one of the bigger national brands of review gathering software. There's many. Teleflora has one, um, which I'm happy to look into. My understanding right now is Teleflora's pretty much only integrates with their the website and not the POS. So I need it to be off the POS because I don't get every order on my website. I need to but
Mm.
it would be great if it was integrated with my POS and it made it easier. I would love that. Um,
We'll send them a little letter. No.
yeah. So, oh, they know. I talk to Teleflor all the time about and I love talking to them about the technology. I'm always giving them feedback. Um, so every week we send out a request for a review. So we'll send out an email saying, did you love what you got? If so, leave us a review on Google. If you don't love what you got, let us know. Let us know. You catch people that are unhappy before they would leave a negative review or just not use you again. A lot of people just don't use you again. They don't leave a review. They don't really do anything. They don't have any inclination to tell you. They just won't use you again, or they send the bun cake, like I said.
Right.
So if you give,
Really have a thing against the bundt cake.
no, I'm
No.
just, there's other options for gifting. It's not just flowers. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like I just like to use that as an example because I do love bun cake. Uh, but
You probably tell them in your chocolate cabinet.
um, we got a review the other day that I'm actually very proud of, and it said, "I've been asking florists to send us a picture of the flowers for years, and this is the first time a florist actually did it." So something we started doing about a month ago, which I'm very proud of, is now every customer that orders gets a picture.
Okay.
So when just like Amazon, when your package is dropped off, you get an email saying your order's been delivered, and boom, there's a picture right there. This is all done through the Teleflorist software.
Okay.
Um, I worked with the Teleflor development to get them to kind of tweak it and to do it the way I wanted to do it. Before it was I could only do it at the time of delivery through the driver, and we can't depend on drivers to take a good picture. So
Yeah.
we needed to do it in house with good lighting. So we actually worked with the Teleflor technology team to get them to tweak the software so we could do it in house before the time of delivery, but it does still sends the email at the time of delivery. And we just rolled it out. We pulled the band-aid off. We said this is gonna be a lot of work. It's gonna be a lot of time, but you know what? It's a huge value add to my customers that they spend 150, $200. They want to see a picture of it, even if it's on your website. Even if they
Yeah.
see the picture on the website, they want to see the picture. I've gotten so much feedback in just the last month, and that was probably one of my biggest, not complaints, but negative feedback that I would get would be like, it would be nice if I saw a picture. And
Well,
I was just waiting to be able to do it efficiently without causing disruption to my business. It's like we'd send out a lot of orders. It's hard. It's a lot of work.
yeah. But
So
there's nothing worse than sending someone flowers and not hearing a word from them. So you often wonder, did they get the arrangement? Are they just bad thank you people? Like, do they just not say thank you? So like by you kind of circumventing that, you've saved the customer knowing that, well, yes, this was, and they just are horrible at saying thank you.
think about this too. If you're a florist listening, you've all gotten those calls like at 3, 4, 5 o'clock on the day saying, "Where's my flowers?" And people don't always respond, but you'll cut those calls down. Like those calls are kind of a nuisance, right? Like you're at the end of the day, you're trying to finish your orders and the phone's ringing and have my flowers been delivered yet? Well, yes, they were delivered 3 hours ago. Now they don't call because they got the email, they know. So there's other there's other ways it pays you back other than just the customer service. It actually helps you get your work done too, by preventing a lot of those needless calls that don't need to happen.
So how do you keep your team, I think 35 people you said, how do you
Yeah.
keep them motivated and making sure that they're carrying forward on your values?
Um, well, one way is through the Florist Association. We take a 3 or 4 designers every year to the Florida State Florist Association, which is an excellent value, by the way, compared
Yeah,
to, not to knock AFD. AFD is amazing, but it's expensive.
yeah.
I couldn't afford to take my whole staff to
Far. Yeah.
AFD.
It's in Palm Springs, I think, this year, so not a bad trip to go to,
Yeah,
but it's a long distance, especially if you're a small business sending
yeah,
a lot of people on your staff there. So,
yeah. If you're in the Southeast, Florida State is about $400 for registration,
mhm.
and we're staying at the Margaritaville in Orlando. That's June 6th through 9th, I believe. A little plug
Looks just
there.
like your background. So that's a
Yeah,
taste
yeah.
of what it
So that's one way. Uh, that's one way to do it. I'm all for training. We do training. We've brought designers in to show techniques.
Yeah,
Um, uh, uh, we I'd like to bring my general manager and my more administrative staff to SAF next
okay,
time. Because that's more business related than design related. I feel like so. I'd like to bring my general manager, and I actually have a new CMO,
okay.
and I'd like to bring her. Um, you know, uh, I bring them to Atlanta with me to go shopping for like Christmas and spring and decor like that. We've paid for our employees to get their FSMD certification.
Okay.
Um, food is always a great motivator.
Right. Right. I would say you're probably, I mean, you seem to have a really great team there when I was there. You were full in all hands in the flowers, but everyone has their stations. You had a gorgeous succulent station that I was just like, man, this is really just set up really nice just to make it really easy and clean. And it just looks so professional. So kudos to
Yeah.
doing such a
It's
great
definitely
job.
gotten harder to do things because let's just face it, the money, with 35 employees is a lot more to send people to training and to bring people places and to bring in food. Like it's $500-600 every time I cater a lunch.
Yeah.
So it's when I had 2 or 3 employees, it was a lot easier. Now it's a lot harder. Um, but you still got to do it. I mean, it's really a no brainer. And then let's face it, like above food and travel and little perks. I mean, like just the pay is like really what motivates people. You know, um, pay a good wage. We offer benefits. We started a 401k in 2024.
Yeah, us
Um,
too. I
yeah, we
feel
started with a 4%
fortified.
match. Paid time off is really important to me. Everyone starts off with a week paid time off, and then 2 weeks after 2 years. We have free dental and vision for everybody, and then
That's great.
we pay a big portion of healthcare if they need it. So
And
benefits are very important. Just good pay is very important. We don't cut people's hours in the summer.
mm,
We pretty much it's not like it's slow, go home. We don't do that. People need to depend on their paycheck every week, and we keep them employed year round at a great expense to me.
yeah, but you know what? That's nice because you have the systems and you have the organization, so you know when those lulls are gonna come in your cash flow to prepare for that, and I think that's as an
Yeah.
established business, you start to see, like, the highs and lows and can kind of keep it all together, so I think that comes down to great management, but also just knowing the cyclical nature of the business, right?
100%. Remember I mentioned earlier I've grown the business about 1,000%.
Yeah,
Um, like well, in the beginning we used to need about 15 grand,
mm,
cushion to kind of get through the slow months. Well, now it's 150,000.
okay.
To get through the slow months. I mean,
Yeah,
everything kind of grows proportionally, which is normal. It's a normal kind of function of business. Every business has cash flow, times. It's not just the payroll in the summer. I buy all my Christmas inventory in July when I'm slowest. You know what I
right.
mean? So there's other expenses I have to come up with in the summer when you have the lowest cash flow. It's a totally normal thing. Absolutely. It's just part of the process.
How did your store during the hurricane?
Well,
Wow.
I'm sure a lot of you have seen, like, my area was hit by these huge tornadoes.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy.
We had like these F5 tornadoes, like stuff you see out in Kansas, right through Wellington, right within a mile of my shop. Like it destroyed homes. Um, so we actually closed for almost 2 days, a day and a half, which is, and we still paid everybody. Everybody came up to me, boss, I gotta pay rent. I got a lot of private conversations. I said, don't worry, we're gonna count this as like holiday pay. We'll pay you, to go home. And then hurricane and bad weather is just flower killers. People aren't sending flowers. People are skipping birthday arrangements. There's no reason to get a birthday if I'm might be losing power or I lost power. I could care less about a flower arrangement in the house if I can't see it because it's in the dark or you know. So we had a couple slow days, which hurts. It hurt a lot, and but you know what? By the end of the month, it ended up being one of my best Octobers. It bounced back with a vengeance. um,
Wow.
the end of October ended up being like extraordinarily busy. Um, and I often refer to that as the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. There's one week you're like, after a good week, you're like, I'm gonna go to Spain for the weekend. And then, you have one bad week and you're like, maybe I should cancel Netflix,
Yeah, I know, I know.
Um,
Well, that's what I love about you, though, is your sense of humor is just so great, and I mean, you have to approach everything with that kind of lightness and just like you're gonna get through it because there's always another day. There's always another birthday, right? Another wedding, another party. The Luckily, there's extra days, right?
I'm
For
I'm confident the flower industry is here to stay. It will change.
Mhm.
Flower industry will change. Don't mistake what I'm saying. But the flower industry is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's people always have a need for flowers. There's always going to be birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs, all that kind of stuff, where people are going to need flowers. So I think it's actually a very secure industry. It's just finding your place in it. And that might change. Doesn't mean the industry as a whole is sick. I mean, there are certain sectors of the industry that are shrinking, but there's certain sectors that are growing. There's all these new mobile flower trucks people are making good livings doing. There, the event arm of the industry, which you know about better than I do, is exploding. People are
Mhm.
spending a lot of money on floral decor for weddings.
Yeah.
Um, so you know, it's like I said, it's just finding your spot where you fit in this
Yeah.
industry. So
Well, I think I see a lot of the smaller retailers that aren't really good at like the branding or the marketing or the networking, all those things that they're really um shrinking more. But then the event companies are picking up that slack. So it allows like I think retailers that really have their act together per se, just kind of grow stronger. And then everybody is kind of siphoned into where they belong and then growing so
right,
forth.
agreed.
There's all kinds, and you see a large mess of different types of folks who find their way to the Roast Me Flower group, which you started this year. Tell us about that, JP. What is the Roast Me Flower Facebook group? And if you are not a part of this as a florist, you need to have very thick skin and a good sense of humor. But it's your
Um,
great
well, we didn't start it this year. I mean, I think we
oh,
started that group
4 years ago, maybe?
more. It's many
Oh,
years old. And but basically it's called Roast Me Flower Shop Edition, right? I think that's what it's called. I'm not on Facebook as much as I used to be. I find Facebook's kind of a negative place a little bit. So I've been off Facebook for a couple of years. I check it for business and stuff like that and pop on every now and then, but I'm not as nearly as Facebooky as I used to be. Um, but it is a fun group. There's a couple other people moderating it now. Um, but basically, I felt there was a need for people to rip on flower design instead of just the instead of the the platitudes of saying, "Oh, that's so beautiful," when really it's not. You're like, "It's not that."
oh,
But to try to figure out a way to do it in a positive way, because we don't want to rip on people like behind their back or without them knowing. So one of the first rule of the group is to post your own work and let people roast you. um, and it's a lot of fun. You post your group, and even if it's beautiful work, like
they'll
people
find something wrong with
people
it.
need to be creative and roast it. Like I kind of roast people that that say it's beautiful. Like, don't do that.
No,
So
no,
it's a
there's like
fun
a
group.
dumpster fire. Can't turn
People
away
people
from it.
needed that outlet because there was obviously a demand to just unleash on stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and it's fun and cathartic to post something and get a rip because let's face it, we're all artists and we all need to be put in our place sometimes.
right, right.
Um, and I think you had a question that you said, "What's my most memorable post from there?"
Yeah.
There is one. If you go back in the history, there was one from this woman that had a flower studio or a flower school in London, and she was immensely talented and made gorgeous arrangements. I think she was an Indian woman from London, and she had a flower school, and she just didn't understand the group at all. Like, and she's posting these beautiful pictures, and people are ripping her, like saying that's the worst thing they've ever seen, and how could you sleep at night selling this to your customer for money and da, da. And she was so mad. It went on for like hundreds of comments that she's so upset and like mad she didn't get it. She threatened to call Interpol on us.
Oh, no. That's hilarious.
So that was one of the funniest posts I can remember, and that was many years ago. I don't really remember her name, or it's way deep in the annals of that page.
Yeah.
But for sure, join the group and post your best or worst work, and see the
Just
magic.
beware, posters beware. But I always love to see Jimmy the Tulip and they're commenting on something, or Ralph, you guys are, some people are just so clever, their comments. I just don't even know how they come up with it. So I just read for the comments, but I'm eating my popcorn, just
Yeah,
laughing
yeah,
to him.
yeah. No, it's fun. It's fun. I need to get more involved in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
glad
thank
I
you.
was able to create it and have a legacy there.
No, well, I mean that if that's your claim to fame, it's a pretty good one. It shows. I mean, I tune into the Tom Brady roast, Justin Bieber roast. I love a good roast. So if you love flower shops, you will love to roast this. So we love to round out our master classes with fun rapid fire questions that you were not prepared for. So are you ready, JP, to get
I'm ready.
started?
Let's do it.
Let's go. What is your favorite word in another language?
Increíble.
What does that mean?
That means incredible in Spanish. I'm studying Spanish, by the way. I have 62-day streak on Babbel.
Oh, very good.
Mhm.
I
That was
Yeah.
it. That was a very apropos question.
No, I love it. What is your drink of choice?
My new drink of choice is called a paper plane. It's amazing. It's
Okay.
one part bourbon, one part lemon juice, one part Aperol, and one part Amaro, which is an Italian liqueur, and it's shaken and served in a martini glass. It's like my new favorite drink. It's kind of like a mix between an old fashioned and a whiskey sour.
I love it. I love that. We're gonna have little paper planes flying around when we post this. What is your favorite flower, and
Rose,
which one makes you the most money?
roses by far. Roses are my favorite flower, and I get asked that a lot. There's just so much color, so much diversity. They're beautiful. They last a long time. They're there's roses in almost pretty much every single recipe at Wellington Florist.
Which flower makes you the most money?
Roses too. Roses have an
Okay.
insane markup. Our normal markup is 3, 4 times.
Okay.
Flowers, roses are sometimes 10 times, something like that.
Oh wow, we love a rose.
Mhm.
Summer, winter, spring, or fall? What is your favorite holiday?
Holiday or season? Holiday.
Se- Season. Yeah,
Okay.
time.
Well, summer because I get to be kind of off and spend time with my family. My wife's a school teacher, so she's off in the summer. My kids are off. That's when we do all our traveling. Of course, I love the flower shop, but winter I hardly see my kids.
Are you allowed to send your wife flowers at school? Have they like stopped all school flower deliveries?
No, some schools limit flower delivery to students.
Okay.
But I've never had a problem sending flowers to my wife. She works right up the street.
Do you send her flowers often?
Um, Not super often, but I do. I definitely do. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Like good man. Morning or evening time?
Well, I'm an evening, not a morning person.
Okay. Are you a thinker or a doer?
Hmm, that's a tough one. You know, uh, yes and no to both. um, I love the saying like ideas are plentiful and cheap, but execution is hard. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
easy to have ideas. It's easy to have great ideas. It's not easy to execute those ideas. So I always feel like I don't do enough. Um, if I walk out in my front door, my customers are like, "This is beautiful out here," but I'm like, "This is a mess. It's a mess over there. It's disgusting over here." I see all kinds of issues. Um, I don't love people that come in and identify problems in my shop, like coworkers and stuff like that. Like, I don't need problems; I need solutions. So, uh, uh, it's important to be a thinker, but being a doer is way more important, I would say.
I agree. I agree. Place you would most like to travel next?
Spain. I have not been to Spain. I was supposed to go during COVID, and it got canceled. So I still haven't been, and that's one reason I've been on studying Spanish is to maybe pick up a little language before I go.
Good. I know you'll do it. What is for dinner tonight?
Hmm, Haven't gotten that far. Uh, I try to go out. I try to do date night at least once a week with the wife. I love steakhouses. My favorite thing is a dry aged steak. But for dinner tonight, I haven't even thought about it yet. I don't know.
Okay, tacos. It's
That's not.
Tuesday. Taco
There you go.
Tuesday.
Maybe I'll do tacos.
I always lean back on those. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Sweet Caroline.
I love it. Do you have a hidden talent and can you share it with us?
Mm, I can't share it.
Okay. I'm scared. We'll put it on the roast me. What is your favorite dance move?
Oh, it's called the I fake it, I think. Man, I never liked dancing. That's not true. I like dancing. I was never good at it. So no matter
Oh,
what, I always kind of put myself out there and where I would literally say I fake it. My favorite dance move, probably the white boy. Yeah.
I like the backing up the cart. No. All right. If you had a superpower, if you could have any superpower, what would your superpower be?
I mean, flying, right? What else
Yeah.
would you do? I mean,
Teleport? I don't know.
leap to tall buildings. I mean, think about having laser eyes. I think that would be more of a nuisance. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Can't.
That's funny. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I love talking with you, JP, for sharing the last hour with us.
Likewise.
If people wanted to reach out to you and ask you more or become one of your mentors, how can they find you?
Oh, by all means, please reach out to me. I am more than happy to share anything I know with any other people in the industry. My email is john@wellingtonflorist.com. You can also find me at jp@wellingtonflorist.com. Shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to to chat with you about anything from marketing to customer service to hiring employees, retaining employees, cash flow. I've done it all in this business, and I have nothing, no secrets. I'm happy to share everything I know. Um, and again, thank you so much for having me on. I do want to just say for a second, like how much I really do like your software. Um, I think Details is fantastic, and I think you were truly amazing and inspiring, also, Corrine. All that you do for the industry, and so thank you for that. I mean, you're everywhere. You're really like a marketing dynamo. You and Ryan Black are the two people I think of most when I think of people that are really just like have done an amazing job at putting themselves out there in this industry. You both impress me so much. Um, I, thank you. Thanks again for the software. I really love it. And I think if you have an event company and you're doing any kind of weddings or stuff, you really need to up your proposal game and, and, and check out Details for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was completely unsolicited. I didn't ask for that. I, I just think you're the coolest guy. And when I grow up, I want to be just like you, JP. So, but it's been just such a pleasure getting to know you over the last few years. And I look forward to maybe seeing you in Spain or somewhere else. I think the Chelsea Flower Show, we're going to get with Lottie and get maybe a field trip going for that because I have a few people that have said they want to go. And
Absolutely. And, World Cup is coming up in the Netherlands, right? And next year or the year after that. So, So maybe the Netherlands, and I'm down. I'm ready to do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, if you need any travel advice, you can reach out to Wellington Florist Travel Enthusiast now. But no, he's the coolest guy. And make it a great one. I hope your holidays are really successful and that you get some downtime with your family. And again, if you guys have any other questions for JP, he's a friendly face. And let him roast your flowers. Let him roast your flowers. Don't be scared.
Happy to help, and thanks again for having me on.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. All right. Bye, guys.